Hey, what's up, everyone? If you're new here, my name is Wasim, and I've been attempting on creating one video a day for 30 days straight. Missed 2 days, but keep on going. um, Today, I wanted to just go over the new update by OpenAI, which is about their GPT-4o model and how you can get started with it. How I would recommend you get started with it right away. So yeah, this model by OpenAI is a model that can reason between audio, vision, and text in real time. I think the thing that stands out to me the most is that if you scroll all the way down, the model is 2 times faster, half the price, and has 5 times higher rate limits compared to GPT-4, which is great, especially if you're a developer or you're a builder or interested in building something, because that means you can use these capabilities for your application. Um, but yeah, so how would I recommend you getting started with building something with this new model? So if you go over to platform.openai.com, you could create an assistant and then query that assistant in your client-side application or in your backend, whatever it is, right? So with this assistance API, it allows you to build like these agents or these tools that have system instructions, have functions that it can call, data that it could use to answer questions, and yeah, and I believe you can even use your assistant in a GPT. So let's create one. So I've been wanting to learn Rust. So I'm going to call mine Rust Tutor. And I'll say, you are a Rust tutor who is helping me learn Rust. I have been coding with Python for 10 years and also have some experience in TypeScript and JavaScript. Sure. So what you'd want to do in order to use the GPT-4o model, you'll come over here to model, you'll select that one. As I was saying before, you can add files for your assistant. So let's say that I had a textbook on how to learn Rust, and there was a PDF. I could upload that and give the assistant Rust tutor that information or context. Yeah, you could also have your assistant write and run code. And third, you can give your assistant functions. So let's say that you're a developer or you have an API that out in Zapier or some third-party API. You can write functions to let the assistant know that, hey, you have these functions that you have access to, and you can use these functions to query and get more data. So let's say if it was an AI search engine, which I've been doing in other videos, maybe a function could be search Google, and search Google would bring back relevant context for the assistant to use to answer a question, right? Cool, and then we'll just leave temperature and top P there. So let's give this a try. So we can say hello. Nice. So you can see that it already knows of its system instructions and it's already giving us information to help us understand Rust. Let's say we wanted to ask a specific question. What is the big differences between Rust and Python? Cool. I mean, notice right off the bat, it's really fast, really fast. Um, and just from a high level of looking at it, I think it's doing a really good job in answering the question. I think if you do a little bit more searching, there's definitely some evals that OpenAI put out, comparing it to other LLMs and other models. So I would take a look at that to see how it stacks up against those other models. But cool. So now you have like this assistant here, and it's using GPT-4o. And if you wanted to add more functions and files, you could do that. But how would you go ahead and use this or put this in your application? Maybe you have an application that you're using the assistant, your users are using the assistant to do something. And the way you could do that is OpenAI has an assistance API, and so you could query your assistant that you've created, and you could start these threads, which are just basically a conversation that a user is having with that assistant. Right? See here that it supports streaming and also tool usage. So if you're coming from the LangChain world, or you're familiar with LangChain, how you can have tools to do things to augment your LLM. Same idea with the Assistance API, right? And we saw that also here with the file search, code interpreter, and functions. Nice. Yeah, I think that's it for this video. So I think the conclusion of it is, if you are interested in using this new model, GPT-4o, instead of querying the model directly, I would suggest using the Assistance API. It's basically querying the model directly as well, but with instructions in place already. You're choosing a model. You can give it some other things to augment it, so file search, code interpreter, and functions. And also, one other point to mention is that with the threads, you could think of a thread as a conversation, so it manages history already, which makes your life a lot easier. You could do these same things with LangChain or other LLM tools, but I think this is definitely an easier or faster way to get you up and running with a model that is solving a specific problem that you are interested in. I think one last thing I'll mention also is that some of the things that I've been thinking about recently is like, why would a user, I don't know, pay for your platform in comparison to if they could have just come in here and created an assistant themselves, right? And that's a valid concern, but I think the thing that would help you stand out as a product, first off, is probably having a really good system instruction. So maybe you have figured out what's the best system instruction to kind of create the guardrails or the guidelines for which the LLM is using to answer questions, right? But then I think the second thing is file search and functions. So let's say that you had functions in here that create an API that your users who signed up and pay for the platform have access to those functions. And so those users could use a version of this assistant with those functions that are doing other things that are more valuable for them than besides just answering a question, right? I'm just thinking about this tutor here, for example. What that could look like is maybe the functions can create an email where anytime it creates an email in a queue that it reminds you at a specific time to look back at your Rust notes and gives you a problem a day. Some version, something like that, right? So it's different than just having a standard LLM where you're just asking questions and getting a response, right? And that's all depending on what you're building, what your use case is, and who your customers are and users. Yeah, I think that's it for this video. If you found it interesting and helpful, please let me know. And I'm hoping to leverage GPT-4o for my projects. I already added it to my old Instagram project. But yeah, planning to use GPT-4o more for future projects and the Assistance API. So if you want to see how that goes, feel free to subscribe and let me know if you have any ideas on things you want to see me build. That's it.